So as I said, I'm so excited to be here tonight. But Guymon, this story actually began with you like something like 20 years ago. Talk about the journey.
It was a long journey. It was a non-linear journey that started in 2003 when I had the idea of using the great series that was iconic for me as a kid in the 80s as the basis for a movie. There were other creative teams who made attempts to make the movie and thankfully were unsuccessful. So then in 2020, I reapproached Glenn Larson's estate because Glenn had since passed, Glenn Larson being the creator of the original series. And I was able to convince the estate again to entrust me with the rights. And once those rights were under control, I approached these guys. The first time around, had not started with the director, and this time wanted and felt like the movie needed a strong filmmaker with a strong point of view. There was only one director on planet Earth that I thought should direct this movie, and that was David Leitch.
David, talk about, and Kelly, what was your reaction when, you heard Guymon's pitch?
I mean, it was a no-brainer. Kelly was like, wouldn't it be great to direct a movie with total authenticity? This one was so authentic and exciting, and it's like, wow, it was liberating. So it was very special. Thank you for fighting for it.
Drew, I was reading, originally this started off as a noir-esque thriller. How did it become the film that it is today? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, we never said the word noir because that's like lights through slanted windows kind of vibes, and
that's cool.
It's cool, but everyone's scared. So on the very first phone call, I said to Dave, "Okay, I really want to do this film with you because I really want it to be the ultimate David Leitch movie." And I actually said, when they do your in memoriam, I'm sorry, but I want this to be the one that everyone talks about, which is a weird thing to say to your friend, to be fair. But I do feel like he made a truly great movie, and so that came to be. Listen, we talked about lots of different versions of the film. We talked about a kind of bigger version that was kind of a bit more Mission Impossible-y and stuff. And we just kept coming back to the North Star, which was authenticity and a sense of reality. I think probably because as the love story became more and more the focus, it had to be grounded, it had to be real. And if the world around it didn't feel somewhat real as well, then you were kind of undercutting it. So, whisper them, noirish elements kind of fell away as we kind of went towards the love story.
Chris, you've got this incredible credit now, stunt designer. Talk about when you hear you're going to do an a cannon roll, or you're going to do the in-camera metal storm, sequences, and we're seeing Ryan Gosling in the cast all wired up. What was your reaction? And you're where do you even begin planning?
Well, I think that the first initial phone call was from David. And, he goes through this whole spiel, and I think I've done this twice to him already. And, we're on the phone for probably 20 minutes, and he goes, "What do you think?" And I classic line is, "You had me at hello." When you hear and you read the script, initially, it was written in the script, the cannon roll, the world record cannon roll. And so as a stunt coordinator, it's like, how do you achieve?
I'm so sorry, Chris.
No, it's great. It's great. It
quite easy to write.
It is very easy to write, but
just backspace all that away.
Yeah,
I put it in bold as well.
So I think the one saving grace for me is I would try and do this because the original record was 7 rolls on Casino Royale. How do you break a world record on a flat beach? So my biggest, my sales pitch to Dave and Kelly was the original first cannon roll in a film was on a movie called McHugh, John Wayne film. And so I figured, well, if I couldn't break the record, at least we'd be given homage to, my predecessors in the business. And so that was kind of how I got around that one. But it's everything we've done. It's a movie about a stunt guy. It's a movie inside of a movie. And the stunts are real. The stunts are driven by the story. It's not gratuitous action for gratuitous action. It was driven by the story. So it's a stunt guy that allowed us to do all these great things.
Well, I was just going to say that the only reason why the stunts work is because the love story is as good as it is. So I think that's advertised as like the real core and the real spine of the movie. If it wasn't as strong as it is, I think the stunts would have just been for spectacle's sake, and you wouldn't have really connected in any real way to the movie. And it's a testament to an action director to have made his biggest stunt the love story in the middle of an action film. Ryan was the perfect stunt performer because he really is sort of an underdog hero. Like, he's so connectable, he's so relatable. He, leads from vulnerability, and his charisma comes from there. And I felt like we needed that energy in order to really make it a story that was like relatable. Somehow I talked these guys into going to him like right off, and somehow he said yes.
And it was an immediate yes
It
from
was
us.
yes.
Yeah,
It wasn't that hard. To
no
talk to,
deliberation.
but yes, but you're right. And Emily.
Emily, the role actually, when we first conceived of it, was a makeup artist, which we thought was really interesting because they have a super intimate relationship with their stunt performers, just like they do with their cast, and they spend all this time, and we had all these ideas. That
Ryan's obsessed with like costumes and makeup, and
yeah, we thought
loves
the
the idea of
prosthetic
the
scene.
the flirting
Yes.
prosthetic scene of like him having a giant gash being applied to his head whilst talking about the saddest moments of their life.
Yeah, which would have been really funny. But then for some reason, if we made her this first time director, which somehow was my idea, I don't know how,
It was.
we would give her the weight of her dreams on her shoulders when the last thing she could have ever handled came into her life again. And it might be a little comment that I think we need more women directors in really big action movies.
Agreed. Yes.
But it came from a place of stakes for the character first, and then it just feels really natural for her to be in that spot. So Emily actually read the first draft of that, and it was really rough. But she kind of saw through it, and then
I think Drew wrote that in a weekend.
Yeah,
Got to get
like,
it to Emily.
it was like
Can we just change this character?
18 hours to like, she's going to read it tomorrow. It's like, okay.
And thanks to Chris Andrews, who actually like saw through it too and gave it to Emily, but like her agent. But like, and then she kind of saw through it, and she really loved the team, and she jumped on, and then was a huge part of tailoring that character and adding the depth and sort of complexity to Jodie.
And I think what came with it is also very charming on Colt's side, Ryan's side, which is they both care about something creative together. And I think that becomes such a kind of romantic part, him supporting her, him caring about her vision. And I don't know, that part I feel elevated the love story as well, because you see him believe in her vision. And I think that's the thing that I hear from people as being, a thing they relate to.
I agree.
Yep.
I think it also makes it really modern, and the way they played it is super messy too, in this kind of beautiful way. But the other thing is, quite honestly, is that like she played it. She could have played it so cold and scorned and overwhelmed, and instead Emily Blunt chose to play it really warm and vulnerable and excited about this giant opportunity in front of her. And that's a special choice that allowed for all of the magic that happens to actually be there, I think.
I love that. And the other thing that makes this the ultimate David Leitch film is, of course, the soundtrack. David, I hear you're a big Kiss fan, and it was your idea to...
I'm always inspired by music before I set out to make a movie. And I think early on, it was in the first draft, that song was just resonating with me tonally to anchor the movie. That song is equal parts camp and cool, which I was hoping that Colt could be and the movie could be. And it's fun. Like the minute you hear the guitar lick, you want to have fun. And so I was trying to sort of plant the flag tonally for the movie with that track. And it was funny because, it's a creative cabal that makes movies, and you have trusted collaborators, producers, actors, writers. And I think I might have been the only one who really believed in the Kiss track. Like,
there were more Kiss tracks at the beginning as well, because part of it was part of their love story. And I think that was when Kelly was like, you guys have been in a room talking about Kiss for a day. This is weird.
Yes, there was. I was like, can I score the whole? Can I do all the needle drops with Kiss? That was one experiment. But really, I Was Made for Loving You was going to be the anchor. And there was a moment where I had in the montage, which is now Taylor Swift, where they're seeing each other by the trailers and they're on set. I had a shot where they see each other and they're both wearing Kiss t-shirts. And I just remember Ryan and Emily just completely rejecting this idea. I'm like, really? Because I had costume make a whole rack of Kiss t-shirts. You like this one? You're like, this is from the Destroyer album. And they're like, yeah, no. Ultimately, the song stayed in the movie. And so it is really the DNA that ties the whole movie together. We bookend the movie with it. And it does give you a license to have fun. I rest my case.
Thank you for all things The Fall Guy and this beautiful love letter to the world of stunts.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, everybody, for coming out. Thank you for sharing the stories, and tell everybody to go watch The Fall Guy.